Hi, I'm Anna and welcome back to my channel Building a Business. So today's video is going to be a financial overview of my rental property business from July of 2020. Now because I'm still in the process of purchasing my first rental property, I didn't have any income from my rental property business in July of 2020. I did have some expenses, but frankly not enough to fill up a full video. So after I go over those expenses that I did have and how much I have saved currently, I will then go over my personal budget and how I make sure to save every single month for my rental properties. So this is my Excel document that shows all my expenses, income, everything else, and this particular sheet is for the month of July for my rental properties. So my starting balance was a little over $70,000, and that's what I had saved over the past few years. Then on July 2nd, my monthly deposit of $1,000 was deposited. Now, I do this automatically, so I don't have to go in and physically move the money from my personal account into my rental property account, and it's automatically set to deposit on the first of the month. However, I assume because of weekends and other things that slow things down, it sometimes is deposited on the second or the third of the month, which was the case in July. Then I went under contract on the 9th of July, and so on the 9th I wired $2,500 as earnest money, and essentially that money goes towards my down payment. However, if I end up backing out of the contract for any reason, the seller gets to keep that earnest money. Then next, on July 9th, I ordered the inspection, which cost $488.60. I could have gotten that for less. I did spend about $100, I believe, on an upgrade to a more thorough inspection. It's probably a ripoff, but this is my first property and I just really wanted to make sure that I caught anything that might be an issue. On the same day, I also paid for the appraisal of the property, and I paid my lender the $550, and then they ended up purchasing the appraisal and getting that done for me. And because I paid the $550 directly to the lender, I don't know how much the actual cost of the appraisal was, but my guess is it was lower than $550. That, however, was a cost that came with working with this particular lender that I couldn't negotiate. So you can see everything that's in parentheses is an expense, and so once everything gets summed, the ending balance is $67,798.82. So that's definitely a decrease from the starting balance, but that makes sense because I had a number of expenses that I had to pay for, and the August expenses are going to be even higher because I will most likely, hopefully, have paid my down payment and officially own my first rental property. So over here I just have a quick overview. In terms of the automatic deposits and interest, that's $1,000. Now I have this money sitting in a high yield savings account, and so each month I get paid a certain amount of interest. Right now my interest rate is super low, it's 0.4%. I think most interest rates have decreased on high yield savings accounts recently. And so the interest that I get paid each month sometimes posts on the last day of the previous month and sometimes a day or two into the next month. And so that was the case in July. The interest I made in June posted on June 30th, so it doesn't show up in my July finances. And then the interest I made in July posted in the first few days of August. And so you'll see that in my August finance review, but that's just a little explanation as to why no interest shows up here for July. And then my rental property expenses is just the sum of these three expenses, and the income is zero because I did not have any income. Now I'm keeping track of a year to date, so as I keep tracking more months, I'll fill this in further and come up with more information to add to this page. And now for my personal budget. So after taxes, I make about $4,000 per month, and I spend a large percentage, in fact 53%, on rent and utilities. So my rent each month is $2,050 per month, and then the extra amount I have here is for any utilities and renter's insurance and other items like that that I have to pay for. Now, spending 53% of your income, even after tax income, on rent is a ton, and I definitely wouldn't recommend it for the average person. That being said, I live in the Bay Area, which is an expensive place to live, and certainly I could find a place that's significantly cheaper than what I'm paying. However, for me, where I live and who I live with, is one of the most important contributors to my overall happiness. And so while, yes, of course, I wish I were paying less, I know for me personally, it's worth it to pay more for rent and less for other items. So the next biggest amount that I spend is on my monthly deposit for my rental properties. So I spend 25% of the $4,000 or $1,000 per month on my rental property. And you might remember if I go back to my July finance review, I deposited $1,000 at the beginning of July, and I do that every single month. Now going back to my personal budget, we have groceries at 7.5% or $300, transportation at $120. So that's paying for gas, that's paying for car insurance, and any repairs or maintenance I have to do on my car. And I drive my car very irregularly. Even before the pandemic, I was driving very minimally, and I have considered selling my car because of how little I use it in the past. However, when I do use it, I'm often transporting larger items, and I don't want to have to rent a U-Haul, and especially now, using Uber is probably not advised. So for now, I have a car, and I'm pretty sure that I'll keep it, but that is something that I think about. Next is gifts and entertainment. So if I go to a concert or to the movies, not that any of that is happening right now, but this is my budget for that, and also for gifts. So my friends and family's birthdays as well as Christmas gifts. So ideally I'll save up extra during the year so that I have enough around Christmas time for all the gifts and other items that I end up getting for my friends and family. My personal savings is $100 per month, and ideally that $100 per month grows each month, and eventually it'll be used to either buy a new computer or a new phone or anything that's more expensive that I don't purchase regularly. So I believe I currently have about $800 saved from that. And then for travel, I'm not doing much of that right now, but I save $100 per month, and I'm currently saving up to hopefully do a bigger trip next summer. Donations, pretty self-explanatory, $100 per month. And then medical, so any co-pays or any other medical issues that I end up having to pay for is my last expense that I budget for each month. So if you sum all of that, you get $4,000 or 100% of my budget. Now you might be noticing that I don't have anything budgeted for retirement besides the rental property. So I don't have a 401k through my employer, but I have set up my own Roth IRA. And I try to work on the side, for instance, babysitting or dog sitting or tutoring. And any money that I get from that, I put in my Roth IRA. And for me, the contribution limit is $6,000 per year. And so I really work hard to make sure that I make enough outside of my regular job to deposit $6,000 per year into my Roth IRA. And so far, I've been able to do that. And then anything else I make beyond that $6,000, which honestly, I generally don't make much more beyond that. But if I do, then I can add that to any of these other savings that I have going on. For instance, this year I'll probably put any extra that I might get into my travel fund so that I can have a great vacation next summer. So there you have it. That's my July financial update for my rental properties, as well as a quick overview of my personal budget and how I allocate my income. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it below and subscribe to follow along on my journey of purchasing my first rental property.